Hey all, Cynthia here, back with another layout in the Traveller's Notebook that I created for the Girls Trip Away that I've been working on. So I've taken this paper here. I've been trying to use this paper on the last 4 or 5 layouts, and I'm finally getting around to using it. I wanted to do something with this ampersand here. So you can see I take my X-Acto knife and I trim around it. So it's still attached in one spot, but the rest of it is free, so I can slip my photo underneath. I then grabbed a stack of 6x6 paper pads. All of these are from the Pink Fresh Studio. A couple of different collections I think there are here. There's the Let Your Heart Decide and, the other one, which I can't quite remember off the top of my head. And I just basically trimmed them all into strips, and then I've glued the strips diagonally on a piece of just standard printer paper, and now I'm gluing that into my page. I didn't make you watch me do that. 2 reasons. One, the video was a little bit what's the word? It sort of had lines come through it a little bit. Obviously there was a bit bright on that day. If I film when it's a little bit too bright, my camera, which is just my phone, doesn't seem to like it, and I get a lot of bars or lines flickering through the video. So it had a little bit of that. And also I was sort of working down on the bottom of the screen, and most of it was off screen. And I think you can know how to put some glue on a piece of paper and stick it down. But I really like the effect of it. And what made me decide to do that was, you can see on the left-hand side that paper that has the orange cross on it, and there's that one that sort of goes right down on top of the ampersand there. I felt like I wanted to continue that diagonal line, so I decided to go the opposite diagonal direction on the opposite page. Now I'm going through some bits and pieces that I received in my kit. So this is a kit that I received from the Wild Hare Kits. It would have been mine, maybe October kit. Yeah, October kit, I think it was. And maybe some bits and pieces from the time before, the kits before, but it was mainly the October kits. So I've got this photo, and I've decided to pull out these big black letters. Now it's quite bold and strong on the page, and I'm not too sure how I decided to do that, but that's what I've decided to come up with. I really like the way it works. And the title is Don't Have Fun Without Me. And Don't Have Fun Without Me is actually what it means. The story behind the photo is why us girls were off. So there was 5 of us. We all went shopping. Lisa had enough of shopping because we were there for quite a few hours. And she said, I'm just going to head back to the hotel, relax. I think she was going to go back and have a bath and just put her feet up. And as she was leaving, she said to us, and don't go off and have fun without me. And we kept shopping away, and about a half hour or so later, she sent us this photo where she had decided to go off and have a river cruise without us. So we all had to laugh. She's given us instructions not to go having fun. She takes herself off onto a river cruise, which is perfectly fine, of course, but we did laugh. And apparently the river cruise was very interesting. So she gave us a rundown on the history of Melbourne and some of the interesting stuff, enough to make us think, oh, we wouldn't mind doing the cruise. Anyway, so I've glued my title down. I've wrote my journaling, which just talks about what I spoke about. I wasn't too sure with the ampersand whether I wanted to have it just sitting loose, sort of flapping up, or whether I want to glue it down. But in the end, I decided to glue it down, and I'm just going to tuck that little bit of vellum underneath. I've got that other piece of vellum there up on the diagonal, the blue and pink piece that's got the gold writing on it. I like the concept of keeping that diagonal going, but that piece is just not quite working for me. And it's here that I decided to get a few leftover strips, and I like the way they work. So I probably would have been a lot easier if I'd figured this out before I glued the page down, because trimming it up was a little bit tricky, but I got there. And before I knew it, you'll see here in a minute that I pretty much decided to do the diagonal stripes all the way around the page. So it's quite a bold statement on the page, all these diagonal lines. So I'm just going to trim down the excess off of that edge there. And then the top of this is where I say it'll make it a little bit tricky to trim it up. It would have been easier if I'd done that before I glued that page down. And this is where I've decided that I might actually continue that diagonal stripe on this side. So I'm just using up all those tiny little bits of scrap, and in the end I think I pretty much use up every piece of scrap that even those tiny little pieces I end up needing to use. And what else? And there we go. I'm just going to keep working around the edge doing that. So I think this Traveller's Notebook is just about to come to an end. I've maybe got 1, maybe 2 layouts left to do in here, and then I will finish. So once that happens, I'll give you a flip through. I get quite a few comments and people asking me about my Traveller's Notebook and the size and where do I get it from. Well, I actually make it myself. I did try a couple of the standard size Traveller notebooks, but I just found them a little bit too small for me, especially considering I'm generally a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, so used to such a big size, going down to the standard Traveller's Notebook was just a little too much of a stretch for me. So what I do to create my Traveller's Notebook is I just take some standard copy paper, printer paper, I fold it in half, I take my sewing machine, and then I just run some stitching down the middle of the page. The pages on the end are not quite as neat and a straight cut as what the professional ones would be. I have tried using my trimmer to trim them all down to make it nice and neat, but that hasn't worked for me, so I sort of just leave it. I'm not too concerned about that. So I'm liking the way this is coming together. And I'll also back with the Traveller's Notebook is I also quite often did I put about 15 sheets in, and then I've started gluing the sheets and pages together because it gets too thick and bulky. And of course it's just standard printer paper. You can actually see through it a lot of the time. You can see the pattern paper through it. So I do I glue them together. There we go. It looks like I've got all the diagonal bits and pieces around, and I just go through and add the tiniest amount of embellishment, not much at all. So as always, if you like this process video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments in the comment section. Love reading what you have to say. And I will catch you on the next video. Some close-up videos coming up, so stay tuned for those. Until then, everyone have a lovely day, lovely week, lovely month, and I will catch you on the next video. Until then, bye.